Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to my weekly show, the First Fruits Stock Club. Hey, yeah. Yes, we are back again. Thank you guys for giving me a few moments of your time. My goal is to give you some information to take your finances to the next level and you'll become fruitful, right? Name of the podcast, First Fruits Podcast. Man, I have a show in store for you today. So let's just go to today's topic. I like to get right into it. Man, today's topic is how to turn your paycheck into monthly dividends. How to turn your paycheck into monthly dividends. Guys, let's make a declaration, okay? This episode. From now on, we're not going paycheck to paycheck anymore, right? We're not going paycheck to paycheck anymore. We're not going paycheck to paycheck anymore. Where are we going? We're going paycheck to dividend, to dividend, to dividend, to paycheck. Let me say that again. We're going paycheck to dividend, to dividend, to dividend, to paycheck. Okay. So, and then if you really want to be fancy, we can go paycheck to dividend, to dividend, to option, right? If you really want to take your finances to the next level, to dividend, to paycheck. Like a lot of times, we're working and we just have this small point of view of the world, and that financially, the small point of view of the world, and all we know is, we get paid every 2 weeks or every week or whatever. Man, there's a world out there where you can earn dividends in between your paychecks, right? All right. So how do we do that? How do we set this up? All right. Simple item list I'm going to give you. Simple list I'm going to give you. First thing we're going to do is, in order to trade stocks, because that's what we're saying, we're not trading, but we're buying and holding and receiving payment from a company. All right. So you have to open a brokerage account. Basic, I've been on here. I'm going to continue to preach this. Open a brokerage account. You can start with $25. You can start with $15, right? You can start with $50. Opening up a brokerage account, filling out basic information, right? Once we open up a brokerage account, what I teach, of course, is there are stocks that pay monthly dividends, there's stocks that pay quarterly dividends. Now, stocks that pay quarterly dividends, that's every 3 months. You can stagger those. You can have three or four of those, right? And then if they're staggered, then we'll receive a dividend every month. Or you can have one stock and you put that together with a monthly dividend payer, right? So you have the one that's paying monthly, and then you have one that's paying quarterly. And you can mix and match and do whatever you want. Some of it is less risk than others. Some of it pays more than others. Whatever your goals are, you can mix and match and put them together like that, right? All right. So we open up the brokerage account, and then we have, like I said, we have to buy a stock, right? Find a stock that pays a dividend. I love E Trade. I use E Trade, and what E Trade does, E Trade, I mean, in most of the online brokerage companies, what they'll do is, when you see the stock, they'll give some basic information, meaning the price, how many shares are outstanding, but it also gives basic information on when the dividend is being paid, right? So we have to buy the stock before the stock trades at X dividend. And that's basically what it is. It trades without the dividend. So when we buy it before, it trades at X. All right. So once we buy the stock before, they'll declare the dividend, and then they'll pay us a dividend. And then the dividend will be deposited into our brokerage account. And in all brokerage accounts, they have usually a money market, or just a place where you can hold the money, or basically you can hold cash until your next trade. Okay. So it's usually a money market. So deposit the dividend into your money market. And man, a lot of times people don't believe that the stock market is real, like you can really make money. We have the largest stock market in the world in the United States. For you to be in the United States, let me just say this, because everybody, is familiar with um, an account for a retirement account, a 401k. Most people, but what happens is that you can't really touch that money, right? They keep that money from you, which is fine because if you had it, you probably would spend it. So that's a benefit of having a 401k. But when you take your finances to the next level, you have a budget and become more disciplined. And then you can say, hey, look, I can have a brokerage account and I know I can save here also. And when you look at it, you actually see your dividend deposited. And, people are going to say whatever they want about this, but I say take your dividend, right? So it's real. Like people don't see it's real. And sometimes, in order for you to take extra actions or actions that you have not done before, you need to have something that shows it's real. You can touch it, you can taste it. Man, take that dividend, go out and buy something with it, right? Just the first one, okay? Take the dividend out, go out and buy something with it. So you can say to yourself, man, this really works. If you never received a dividend before, right? You never received a dividend before, this really works. And guess what? You can get dividends all throughout the month. I get dividend checks all throughout the month, every month. Okay. So it's up to you, right? If you want to stay paycheck to paycheck, or we're just going to rock it paycheck to dividend to dividend to dividend to dividend to paycheck, right? You can do that. It's really simple. All right. Open up the account. And then some people say, well, I can do a drip, and that's fine too. But I believe and the issue is, and a lot of people feedback that you will get is that dividend stocks, companies that pay dividend don't really grow, and that's for the most part true. Okay, but look, if we had the dividends, then we can reallocate that capital. So you spend the first one, it becomes real to you. But then you say, you know what, I need to add more money, and you'll figure out the more money to add, the larger the dividend, the larger the payment will be because it's paid on a per share basis. So the more shares you buy, the more dividend income you'll receive. More shares you buy, the more dividend income you receive. Okay. So then, you'll get hype about it and motivated, and you'll say, look, I don't need certain things. Man, or why am I spending this when I could be putting this in my brokerage account receiving a dividend? And instead of spending this dollar once, I could spend this dollar forever. Or as long as the company's paying dividend. Now, sometimes companies don't pay dividend, right? That does happen. But, we find great companies that have a long term history of paying dividends. And then once we take that dividend, then we can buy the growth companies, right? But the real thing is, if you really want to take it to the next level, so we can have our long term growth companies, or we can put it in the ETF, right? Which reduces that risk. But then we could take it and put it into the options. And man, guess what? When we build up our dividend account long enough, we can have enough money every month where we can buy options every month. And options aren't expensive. You can get an option contract, and yes, they are risk. When you invest in an option, they're time sensitive, and um, and you can lose your entire investment, right? But most options, most people sell their option before they go to zero, before the time expires. Okay, in the option contract. But options, they they're very lucrative, and they can take your finances to the next level, right? And then what happens is, let me tell you, I don't know what it is. I was a real estate investor, and I've had some very large checks. God's been good. So, but if I only saw my personal paycheck, it is hard for me to believe that there's something outside of that. And I get that. That's why I'm on here every week. Please open a brokerage account, right? Please do it. Please. I mean, it's there. All you have to do is open one, put $50 in. right? I love dividends because once you see that and you see it's really like it's a real thing, right? I know everybody's online and things you don't know what's real and what's not, but dividends are real. Companies been around for a long time. Companies been paying dividends for tens years, for decades. It's a real thing, and I think that doing that initially, it'll taste. You get a little taste of things, and then you'll move forward. And I say join the First Fruit Stock Club. You know, join the club. You know, I have members that are generating thousands of dollars per month. Okay, without trading. This is before options. Okay, I would. Anyway, all right. So let's get into the show. So yes, excuse me. We thought government jobs were guaranteed. Did we not think that? Haven't we learned something? Man, nothing is guaranteed. So you always have to have. You don't know what's going to work, especially when you depend when you have your whole financial life on a based on a job, right? And I'm not the one. I have a job. I still work. Okay, I love what I do, and I'm not the one to say don't work and leave your job. My job is my investor, right? It's how I continuously build my portfolio, how I continuously buy businesses. My job is my investor, but I do not depend on my job for my lifestyle. That is not their responsibility. Stop putting that responsibility on your boss. They are not responsible for your lifestyle. Okay? All right, so let's move forward. Yes. So how to turn your paycheck into monthly dividends. Yes, yes. All right, so let's get into the stock market. Man, we oh, um there is something always going on in politics these days. It's a lot going on in politics. Excuse me, I have Invisalign. If I have in fact, I don't have it in right now, but still, my speech is a little impaired. So excuse me. But so man, the Dow Jones Industrial. So I put the week. Sometimes I do the day, but this is the week because I mean, we had the conflict with Iran, um, and we bombed Iran, and this whole thing's going on. What was really bombed, and we don't need to get into that. But man, when the market decided that, um, They shook off that what was going on, and they felt like it's a temporary thing, and that they will come to an agreement with Israel and a nuclear program, and the markets just started going off. The 23rd, that was Monday. Man, lovely, lovely. I love it. Up 134 points, S&P 500. The Nasdaq, man, 505 points. Man, I'm gonna get into this, but I'm gonna tell you this: that the stock market is really about to set it off. Now we're gonna go through a bumpy period. I said September, but let me tell you this, right? I told you get your money together. Well, we're about to go into overdrive, and things. All right, I have a word of knowledge. I can't guarantee anything, but from my research and my models, we're about to go to that next leg in the stock market. All right. That's just what I believe. Uh, just what I believe. So, man, today's um, stock spotlight. All right, let's go to the next segment. Stock spotlight. Um, this is not well, it is it's trades, but this is more of a this is a fun. Um, ARKK, right? It's a fun. And man, if you look at it, it is run by Cathie Woods. We're gonna talk about Cathie Woods, and I recently heard an interview on her, and I was really man, I was really inspired. Um, but as you can see, the stock, the fund went up to $130, and now it's at 7. But look at this chart, man. This thing is moving forward, right? It's moving forward. It's volatile, but it's moving forward, right? And it still has a lot of ways to grow. I think the stock is really on the move. Um, but Cathie Woods, so let's make some money. So ARKK is run by Cathie Woods. Should be sorry. At a glance, founder and CEO of ARK Investment. Wood founded ARK in 2014 and leads actively managed ETF strategies centered on disruptive innovation. All right. So um, she is what I call a futurist, right? And what that means is somebody who really goes into the future and sees, technology is really all about future. You have to be kind of an optimistic person uh, for technology and believe that technology is going to change things and change the world for hopefully for the better. Some people have technology and they think, well, it's going to change things for the worse. But, we have a progressive society, a progressive economy. We're always moving forward, right? No one wants to move back. Well, some people want to move back, but the economy is always moving forward. So you have to move forward with it. All right. So she's what was called a futurist. Okay. And so in December 2020, um, ARK became the largest actively managed ETF, surpassing JP Morgan uh, Funland Fund or whatever. And um, so let's go forward. So she stands as the largest female manager of actively managed ETFs due to her fund's asset and her public profile. So this is where Cathie Woods really made a name for herself. She predicted Tesla, and she still predicts this, that Tesla uh, has a long-term share price of $2,600 per share by 2029. That's a 1,300% upside. She was she was really one of the first people to really discuss Tesla as an investment. And her thesis is that Tesla is more than just a car company. And this is the reason why, if you look at Tesla compared to the other car companies, and you look at the valuations, right? In the stock market, everything's about valuation, meaning what this company's worth versus what the next company that does the similar thing, what they're worth, right? So they value it. Tesla's by far the most valuable car company in the world, and it's because it's not only seen as a car company, it's seen as a technology company. So what Cathie Woods, her thesis is that is that Tesla is not is three components. It's a car company, it's an energy company, and it's an AI company, right? So just recently, Robotaxi Woods projects Tesla's Robotaxi service on a core value expected to contribute 60 to 90% of revenue. So she expects basically for you to be able to have a Tesla, and you drive to work in a Tesla, and then the rest of the day, the Tesla's basically working as a taxi cab, taking other people around and charging a fare for that. Right. So she's saying that this will give Tesla will earn and create the valuation. So it did just recently did the rollout in June, 10 to 20 vehicles. So man, and then this is the next thing also, and she said it doesn't include humanoid robots. And this is where it really got me. That's why I said I have to talk about this. So we have the humanoid robots called Optimus, Beyond Cars, excited about it. They're not yet factored into the $2,600 forecast. Elon projects producing 1 million Optimus units annually by 2030. But this is the crazy thing. So this is she had a view, and I could see this, and you just really have to be able to step your mind into the future and not kind of look at what's going on now. But you have the AI, you have the Nvidia, which is the brains of the robots. You have the robots that are being built. Amazon is cutting staff due to robots, right? But then she said, "Look, what if you had a robot that could transform? Like you had a robot, right, that comes with you to work, that transforms into transportation, that you take home, and then transforms again for your home." It was crazy. Like, I'm a big Transformers fan, right? So I can really see having. I'm telling you, I'm getting one. My wife probably disagreed. I didn't wear my ring today. I just saw that. I'm probably gonna get yelled at, but I just took it off when I got home. But man, having robots around, I want one. Probably be a little creepy, but why not have a robot? Like, why not? You know. But man, this is the future. I really see this, and like robots could really just like take over all jobs, like trash men. Think about the medical field, picking patients up. Think about a car transforming, right? And robot come and get the patient out of the hospital because that's taxing. Um, being able to do all the diagnosis it can just as a physician can, right? Taking the patient home, having a robot at home. So now the hospitals are at home now. This is and like they're saying this is what they're saying, like within the next 3 to 5 years. Transportation is like 10% of our GDP. GDP is what we generate in goods and services. Robots driving, transporting. I mean, this thing is and I don't want to scare anybody because I think a lot of it, it's going to take time. It's never what is even like I worked through the internet time frame where they thought the internet was taking over everything. But let me tell you why this is different than the beginning of it. Now they're going to overbuild this, right? And what's going to happen, they always overbuild and overbuild capacity because the money is there and people want to invest in this area. But we're at the beginning of this. I remember this reminds me of the year 2000 or 1999 when I became 1998 when I was a financial advisor. So, but man, we are at the precipice. If you're not investing, right? You don't even have to be in AI. You don't have to know anything about AI, but you can invest in the companies. When you invest, right, you become an owner and you get a piece of all the intellectual property, everything they're doing. You earn a point of revenue from that as a shareholder. And it, you have to be an investor in this economy. It's like things are going to change rapidly. Things are already changing rapidly. They're trying to find where to cut costs right now. Everybody's everybody's on the block. Don't believe you're not on the chopping block. All right. That's why we have to invest. We have to build businesses. We have to do other things. Right. We still have to work hard at our jobs and do what we're supposed to do, but they're going to protect the business first. I mean, they have more employees than you, right? And and they're going to do their best. Let me just not say they're negative. They're going to do their best, but we have to get prepared and stay prepared and not be angry, because they're dealing with this change too. AI is changing everything. All right, man, that is it for the show. Try to get on here, speak my piece, and you guys just stay fruitful and open your minds. Small thing. There's other people in other countries that wish they had access to our market. All you have to do is you on your phone all day looking at now. I look at craziness too. Okay. I love internet is funny. It's undefeated stuff you see. But I spend the majority of my time educating and trying to bring information to you. You need to spend some of that time investing in yourself, things that are going to make you money in the future. Laughing is cool, but that's not going to bring you money in the future. In fact, the more you laugh and the issues that are coming in the future is going to turn into tears. All right. But we can be prepared. We can invest. We can make decisions. Man, you guys can do it. I'm telling you. I'm not a rocket science. I just love the stock market. And it's set up for you to win. Okay. So man, I thank you guys so much for giving me moments of your time. And have a fruitful rest of the week until next week. God willing.